I do them, they come out sloppy. Maybe I just don't have the knack.
Okay, here's a look at Gravedigger with all the accessories out of the box. So now let's quickly go over all of these. First, I want to point out this no longer comes with the instructions booklet. So that's a little disappointing, but they give you the QR code for the website. And that doesn't work really well because you have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until you find the transformation video for this figure. But anyways, now let's take a closer look at the accessories. Starting off first here with my favorite, the bio card. So here you could see what the bio card looks like with the nice image of the toy in robot mode. And the back of the box, you get your bio and the tech spec, and you do have to zoom in to pause and read that if you're interested in what that says. So you get a bio card, credit card style. And then Scavenger's accessories. So here's a look at his handgun. And yeah, I want to just document this so you know what gun goes with what character. And then they did give you an alternate faceplate. I'm not sure what this is, if this is just a stylized version or if this is one of the G1 toy head. But they give you an alternate head. And they give you the trumpet, which is really cool. So you can kind of capture the scene from the movie where, you know, they were blowing the trumpets. And then here we get a alternate. Well, I'm not sure what this is. This is like a replacement head for Scrapper. So I guess you have to unscrew it somehow and put it on. Well, I'll see like later. And then here are the parts forming pieces for Devastator. So first let's go over the gun. So here's the gun, and you could see it is very simple. So this definitely captures the Toon aesthetics. It's missing some of the, well, I don't want to say missing, but it doesn't have some of the extra details which would give a nice accent. So some people like it, some people don't, but yeah, I'm sort of indifferent to it because, you know, it looks fine. As long as it's nicely sculpted and nicely painted, it's good. And then we get his right arm. So here we'll just take a closer look at it. You could see it is nicely ratcheted. I really do like the ratchet. And then his fist hand, it does rotate on friction. And I'm being honest here. I do like the style of their hands on Devastator, not on any of the Constructicons. And I actually like the hand design much better than Fans Toys because, yeah, you could see it just aesthetically looks more pleasing. And here I just wanted to point out something really quick. I know I saw the review where they were showing you how this, oh, which way did they do it? I think they did it this way. Yeah, it doesn't tab in, and then they're saying it tabs in only upside down or something like that. Well, first of all, let me point out, it wasn't designed to for the gun to attach with the thumb facing down. It was designed for the thumb to go in this way. So now when you see, it does easily tab in, and the thumb does wrap around and the fingers wrap around. So this is the correct way to get Devastator's hand holding the gun. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. And then here is the parts forming piece for the attachment to Devastator. And I believe it's supposed to go this way. So here you could see, so the arm does go out. I'm kind of concerned with this ratchet. it doesn't really feel or sound very good. So that's a little concerning to me. And then you could see it does look like it slides in here. And when I do the transformation, I'm going to see if I can get this piece attached to the front. So this does look a little bit more tune accurate. Because no one really showed it, but I have a feeling that it does. So we'll see if I can do that. And then here is a look at the figure. So first, let's zoom in and take a closer look at that nicely sculpted head. And then you could see is this die cast or is this just chrome plated? I think it's just nicely chrome plated. Maybe the center is die cast, but yeah, you could see this does kind of capture that G1 toy, along with all these treads here, does kind of capture the G1 toy. So here, and I'm going to just point out, out of the box, just like fans toys, you do need to adjust the parts so that, yeah, it does look like the cartoon. So there's three things. So first, you need to bring down these panels, which are on a double hinge on both sides. And now you could see his knee will bend. And then right here, I don't know what you call it, these two posts. That's actually for the alt mode. So for the robot mode, you need to rotate this around. And I'm telling you, when you first do it, the tolerance is pretty tight. But just be assured that it does rotate around. And here I'm just showing you, you could see how it's curved. So that's done really well. It's not like a square 90 degrees. So this does make it easier to rotate. And then here, you need to untab this shovel bucket piece, and this piece is for the alt mode, so you need to rotate this in. And to do that, you need to untab the back, and then you need to rotate this in. And I'll also point out, when you first do this, it's going to be really tight, and you can see there's a top and a bottom. So when you first do it, it's almost coming the two parts are separating here. But you could see after you kind of loosen up that whatever's causing the restriction, yeah, you could see it does easily rotate. And all of that is so that now you now it does capture the cartoon aesthetics a little bit more accurately. So with that, let's go over some details. First of all, I want to point out these hands are real. I mean, these hands are really bad. We need new hands. But basically, here, I'll just point it out real quick. You need to be very careful. Why? Because this is the type of plastic, and you could see the joint, the connecting piece there. It's a really thin piece of plastic on this type of plastic, and you could see there's a pin. So the tolerance might be tight, and anytime the tolerance is tight, you have to apply force to manipulate it. And when you do, you might accidentally run the risk of cracking and breaking it. So just pointing out things you need to be aware of, so you use caution when articulating or manipulating these fingers. But basically, when you open it up, you can carefully tab in the gun, because you could see the gun handle is close to that thumb, which is prone to breakage. And you could see when you want to rotate it in on that hinge, if it's too tight, stop and just kind of try to loosen it up. But I'm telling you what I know other reviewers don't tell you, how to be very cautious with X-Transbots figure. But now that we have them in alt mode, let's compare this with the animation model. And you could see that they did a really nice job capturing the toon aesthetics, the colors, the shape, the proportion. The only difference is you could see all these treads here. This is not toon accurate like fans toys, where you could see they put basically like, you know, 5 boxes in here instead of all these lines going across. And that's not to say it's bad, it's just the way it's made, and it just depends on what your preference is. I personally actually like this because it gives us extra detail that makes it look really nice. And then when we come to the back, you could see the back is very tune accurate. It has the top here that you flipped over, so it's black. Just some little detail that they're doing to show you that they are trying to make this tune accurate. And also you can't see, but those two posts, I don't know what they are, but they fold in because they don't show in the back of the robot mode. So yeah, here's just some comparisons with the animation model. And now let's just quickly go over the articulation. So let's come up here to his head again. And you could see that his head is, I don't know what you call this, but first of all, it's a nicely sculpted neck joint. I like that design. So it goes up, it can go down a little bit, it can go side to side, but no confused dog look. And then his shoulders, you could see some nice die cast there. And you could see, I think it's on friction, so you want to be careful when you're rotating it up. Don't just go, it goes up and it comes down. You want to be careful with X-Transbots figures. And then they do rotate forward and back on friction. And then he does have a nice bicep swivel. He does have, is it a, yeah, it's a full range double jointed elbow. So I know some people really like that. And I'm not sure, yes, this does have a butterfly joint. So those people who really like a lot of articulation, look at that. You can get a lot of articulation there. And then when we come down to his waist, there is waist rotation. And I know for whatever reason, some people like to go all around as if that's something you really need. And then you lift up the back, and then here you can go all around. I mean, does that make sense? I don't know. I think just the simple rotation like this is definitely sufficient in my opinion. And then I think there is an ab crunch. Yes, I heard a click. So that's done really nice. And I know you can go further, and here you just want to move it very carefully. It looks like it just bends 90 degrees, which is more than you need. And look at this, they did give you these hip skirts, so that's really nice. So now you could see his legs can go all the way up on a nice ratchet, and they can go out to the side on friction. He does have thigh rotation. He does have a nice clickety ratcheted knee, double jointed knee, so you can get a full range. I'm seeing that, yeah, I could see why people like the articulation on X-Transbots, because there's quite a lot. You could see he does have ankle rockers. And, oh, look at that. They even did give you a toe tilt up and down. Wow, I'm actually really impressed with the articulation. So, yeah, I think this is done really well. So, yeah, just one quick look, and now we'll do some comparisons. And for some comparisons, let's bring out the Fans Toys version so you could see the difference between the two. Obviously, Fans Toys is much taller, and there are some differences in the color. Personally, I actually like X-Transbots purple, because this is more accurate to the cartoon from all the scenes that I was looking at. And this one's kind of like a lavender-ish color with a little bit more red. So yeah, it doesn't really capture the color of the cartoon as well as X-Transbots. And then there are a lot of other details, such as the proportion that people talk about, but I don't think they really explain why. And I'm going to try to keep it simple because there's a lot of things I could point out to explain why. But basically, in short, the proportions on Fans Toys is off, not because they don't know how to sculpt the figure, because they definitely can sculpt it to look just as nice as X-Transbots. It's just the consequence of their combined mechanism. They, wanted to have, I'm assuming that their connecting joint's going to be really tight based on how big this piece is. And as a result of making this big, it changes the length and proportions here. So now they're trying to readjust everything. So they still try to incorporate the angles, but the proportions and everything is off. If you're an artist, you will know, like, once you start drawing something off and then you're trying to fix all the areas, your drawing is not going to work because you need to fix the problem area in the first place. And I don't want to say it's a problem area. This is a choice that they made to have a bigger piece, I'm assuming to have a much sturdier, solid connection piece. And this is basically just the consequence of that. And then the long legs, I could just tell you that's pretty much Fans Toy style, you know, the heroic look. And little details for me personally that I don't like, it's missing that circle piece here that X-Transbots put in, which is very tune accurate. But in short, you know, that's just a little bit of what I'll cover. And then you could see from the side view, this is something I know a lot of people complain about, how big and chunky the backpack is. And in short, it's obviously the consequence of making the parts forming piece go into the figure, which I actually think is actually smart in terms of, you know, the concept design, because now you don't have the parts all floating around out here somewhere. But as a consequence, yeah, it does make the back a little bit bigger, but I think this is just all, you know, based on personal opinion. I actually don't think it's that bad. The most important thing is form and function. You could see despite having the parts forming piece in here, look at how well it's able to stand. So that's pretty nice. And then the back view, yes, X-Transbots did a nicer job capturing the toon aesthetics. Here you saw those two, I don't know what you call those two circular posts. Here they made it so it rotates in, so it's toon accurate. This is not. And then X-Transbots, they gave you that little piece on the back where it's black, so it's toon accurate. Up here, Fans Toys, they didn't. So X-Transbots, I think, did a nicer job capturing the toon aesthetics. And without getting into all the other details, you know, such as the engineering, the form and function, there's differences, but in short, I think this is a simpler design. It's easier, well, other than the tolerance, it's easier to transform because it's not engineered so complicated like X-Transbots. And there are fewer parts, which is smart. Even from their point of view, it's smarter to use fewer parts because it's less parts to make and less parts to assemble. So it would save them, obviously, money if they just kept it simple. But yeah, and in terms of form and function, they pretty much do the same in terms of the articulation and stuff, except... And man, I want all of us to really complain to X-Transbots because these hand design are not good. I mean, and the perfect example, you look at their X-Transbots, the last one I remember making of their first aid. Yeah, they totally designed the hands differently. And my main point, what I'm trying to show you is you need to be really careful. Not only do you need to first be aware that this thumb does not rotate down so you don't accidentally break it, but you could see the pins, the tolerance are tight, so you have to apply force to move the joints. And if it's too tight and you're applying pressure, you're going to crack it and break it. And that's why I know their Scavenger part of the piece broke. Because the tolerance is really tight on the type of plastic that was made really thin. So yeah, my point is, in terms of form and function, because of the type of plastic that they use, the engineering, how thin they make it, it's prone to breakage. So like I said many times, with X-Transbots figures, you need to be careful and use caution when manipulating it. That's why some of the reviews I see out there, they're just showing you this and that. don't follow that example. You like like kind of like this. It opens up here, fold this in. No, you want to actually take your time and be careful to avoid any breakage. But anyways, here's a look at the fans toys. And for another comparison, here is the first version of Toy World's Scavenger. And the first version, had a little darker shade of color here. It's not the same purple, because I have the second one, the more tune accurate colors in combined mode. But yeah, here you could see the difference between these three, just to show you. And I don't know if anyone else has the first version or if even another version, but the treads here, they're kind of like sticky. I don't know what kind of plastic it is, but after time it will become sticky. And I also want to point out, if you could see, this plastic, the little hook broke, and you could see the different colors because I used the cartoon color to replace that piece. So yeah, my point to that is, over time, the Toy World or the Zeta, they're not going to hold up. The plastic quality somehow hardens or weak. Yeah, it does harden, and then it's going to crack when you manipulate and break it. But yeah, here is just a comparison with another version. And let me see if I can move these guys back. His shovel piece is in the way. And let me bring out another comparison. This is the KO version, I think, of Gravedigger. So this is a stylized version. So here you could see some comparisons with some other versions of Scavenger. So yeah, the older designs were more stylized. They're trying to go a little bit more tune accurate, but it's still stylized. And then Fans Toys and X-Transbots, they are trying to focus on more of the cartoon aesthetics. But X-Transbots, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, they're trying to focus on three things. They're always trying to focus on capturing the toon aesthetics, incorporating some G1, such as this piece being all chrome plated or die cast, I'm not sure. But it's basically, you could see the chrome finish. And then also some realistic details. This also is on the original G1 toy. So I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's definitely their style. They're trying to have a fusion of three, which I actually kind of like. And Fans Toys, not all of them, but with this particular figure, they are trying to go straight up more cartoon accurate. And just for one last comparison, here is a look at the original G1. And here, this is what I just told you. You could see how they try to capture some of the G1, not the sticker decals. There's a separate figure for that. But this one does have that silver finish, and you could see the G1 toy has all those treads. So yeah. So anyways, with all that, let's get these guys out of the way, and then I'll show you one last comparison that I'm not sure if I want to keep doing it, because it's just more work that I do just for the sake of reviews for a non-monetized channel that does not sell memberships or merchandise or promote Instagram or Patreon and things like that. I took the time to transform these so you could have kind of like a group shot. So here you could see in robot mode, they do look really nice together, because their proportions and everything do capture the cartoon aesthetics. But I said many times on previous videos or episodes that X-Transbots figures, they look best in their alt mode, and it's only in the alt mode where you could appreciate some of the extra details that they put in here, such as the seats and steering wheels and control panels and stuff like that. You can't appreciate that in robot mode. You can only appreciate it in alt mode. So I'm still debating if I want to keep these in their alt mode, and then maybe purchase Mastermind Creations, who's late to the game, have those as my robot mode. But anyways, here's a look at them. And since I mentioned it, I was telling you the panel piece, because of the type of plastic, how thin it is, the engineering, the tight tolerance, and you have to use force. I know that's how people broke this piece, the connecting piece here. So that was my point with the hands. All of these have these really poorly designed hands, or poor choice of designed hands, because they're prone to breakage. But anyways, there's a look at some more comparisons. And now let's transform him to his alt mode and take a look at that. And here is a look at Scavenger transformed in his vehicle construction mode, in the more cartoon accurate mode, with the parts forming piece attached, this little green piece here in the front. So now let's compare this with the animation model, so you could see how well they captured the toon aesthetics. And just this little parts forming piece added definitely captures more of the cartoon aesthetics, more than, the other reviews that I've seen out there. So I'm actually really happy about this. And then when we take a look at the back, you could see that they did a really nice job cleaning the back, and I'm laughing because of Fans Toys. So I'll point those out when I do the comparison. But you could see overall they did a really nice job. So now let's zoom in and take a closer look at all the details, such as the Decepticon logo and this parts forming piece added. So now it's more toon accurate. And then with X-Transbots, they're not only just capturing the cartoon aesthetics, but they're also incorporating some extra detail, which looks really nice. And with X-Transbots figures, they always give you these extra features, such as the doors open, and you could see the seat in there, which is green instead of black. And then there is a little dashboard with no extra detail. But yeah, that's just being really nitpicky. But they did do a nice job, as always, putting in all these extra details and features, which looks really nice. And this one in particular, I think it works fairly well, with the exception of the door having difficulty opening. Here, they could have just easily fixed that by putting a little nub or gap somewhere to make it easier to open. But it still works. And then you could see all the details that I was telling you, which gives extra accent to the figure. I mean, look at this. This is done really nice. And then the back, Fans Toys, you could see how well this cleans up. Really nice. If anything, maybe some lights, rear lights would have been nice. But yeah, overall, I think this is done really well. And then in terms of form and function, look at this. They gave you real working hydraulics that are made with die cast. So here you could see, well, it doesn't bend that way. Here you could see it bends down and the hydraulics go in and out. Also up here, in and out. Also up here, in and out. This is really cool. They didn't need to do that. And they also put die cast, which actually, gives it more realistic look. Unlike some of their other ones, or their scrapper, they gave you the hydraulics, but they didn't use the chrome die cast or paint it silver or anything. But yeah, all these little extra details makes the figure really look really nice, and the nice purple transparent windows. So here is a look at Scavenger in his alt mode. And now for some comparisons, let's bring out Fans Toys and do some comparisons here. So here you could see the difference between the two. Obviously, Fans Toys is definitely much bigger because that's most likely intended to be for the combined mode. And yeah, I was pointing out some of the differences that I was telling you. The back, you could see Fans Toys does not clean up as nice as X-Transbots, and all the extra details here, it's missing on the Fans Toys. You could see they put it there, but they didn't paint it this nice silver. And then here they have some sculpted in hydraulics, but it's not painted. But here you have die cast hydraulics that are real, that really work. So yeah, I'm not picking on Fans Toys. I'm just always pointing out the facts. I'm very unbiased. I just, point out the facts. And then here, Fans Toys, they also did give you this front piece that is tune accurate. It's just this one, I think, captures the cartoon aesthetics a little bit more accurately. And then one of the other differences that kind of bothers me is the color. I think I already mentioned it. The purple here is more accurate to the cartoon. Here, this is kind of like a lavender-ish with a little bit more red added to the purple. So you get a little bit of a different color. But anyways, here's just a comparison with the Fans Toys. And then for another comparison, let's bring out the Toy World version. This is the very first version. So this one has that navy blue color. And here, just up close, you could see, look at all this extra detail here. So I'm just pointing out, my preference is for the toon aesthetics, but I do appreciate all this extra sculpted and painted in detail, as long as it's not overly detailed. And so, yeah, this is done really well. So this one has more details than X-Transbots. So this is why this is better than X-Transbots. So yeah, I'm just being a little facetious there to get the point across of people making those kinds of statements like Fans Toys is better than X-Transbots or X-Transbots. It's just pointing out the facts and being unbiased and objective to see and recognize the differences, which is what I spend a lot of time trying to, point out. But here you could see the difference. And one of the major differences, this is an older figure. So this is done in more that stylized version. And it has all this extra detail, which looks really nice. And with Fans Toys and X-Transbot, you could see they're both trying to capture the toon aesthetics. And they both did a really nice job. It's that it's just Fans Toys with this particular figure, they're focusing a little too much on the toon aesthetics. I laugh because look at the nice detail. Is it? Yeah, well, they have some rear lights, but it doesn't have it on X-Transbots. So that's why Toy World is better than X-Transbots, because look at all this detail. It's not on X-Transbots. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, but X-Transbots, they don't just focus on capturing the toon aesthetics, but they also try to incorporate some of the G1 and also some realistic details here. And that's what I think makes their figures look so much nicer. But anyways, instead of rambling, here's a look at that. And for one more comparison, let's bring out the original G1. So here you could see, this is what I was telling you, the color purple. Look at this is the Takata reissue, the more cartoon accurate colors. And so when you look at the purple, look at the purple almost matches here. And I feel like I'm picking on Fans Toys. I'm just pointing out the facts. Look at the color, the difference in the color. This is not very toon accurate colors. So, and that's not to say X-Transbots is better than Fans Toys because of it, but it's just pointing out the facts that X-Transbots did a really nice job with the aesthetics. So now, with that, let's just do one more comparison, since I went through all the work to transform these figures. And I don't know if I want to keep doing that, because yeah, that's a lot of work to do for a non-monetized channel that doesn't sell memberships or merchandise or promote the Patreon or Instagram and all that stuff. But anyways, here you could see what he looks like with the other two Constructicons that we have so far. And here you could see this looks really nice. Like I already just said, they do a good job capturing the toon aesthetics, but they also incorporate some of the G1 and some realistic detail, which just enhances the figure even more. So here you could see, and here I also want to point out, because this kind of validates my point that I said X-Transbots, their figures look best in alt mode. And here I'll give you an example of what I was talking about. Like here in alt mode, I already pointed out all these working hydraulics, and then the doors open. And you can't really appreciate that in robot mode. So that was my point. All these cool things that it does. And here, this is what I was telling you, you have working hydraulics here, but it's green. It would have been nice if they would have used a silver die cast there. But yeah. And then the little details here, just a little detail, just painting the rear. And then the interior, the steering wheel, the seats. You can't appreciate this in robot mode. So hopefully that, validates what I'm saying, that they look best in their alt mode, because this is, the headlights and stuff, the chrome wheels and things. Look at the rear lights, and look at the form and function here with long haul. If you have some energon cubes, you could put those in there, and then you can have this work. Look at that. You can't appreciate that in robot mode. That's my point. So yeah, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to point those things out, because for me, I'm still trying to decide if I want to have these in their alt mode and then maybe get the mastermind creations and keep those in robot mode, or have these in robot mode. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide that. But anyways, here's a look at the other Constructicons that we have so far. So now let's just finish up here to keep the review short. I'll end my review giving you my final thoughts that there's three categories basically. I mean, it's also the cost too, but I only go by really three: the aesthetics, the cartoon aesthetics, and the design aesthetics. And they do a really great job sculpting the figure, painting the figure. There's no question. X-Transbots and Fans Toys both do a really great job with that. And then the second category is the engineering. It's X-Transbots, they still struggle with just making complicated designing the transformation way too complicated with too many parts. But I'll tell you that this one actually was so much easier than the other ones. And because these two together took me over 2 hours to transform with no reference from YouTube videos showing you transformation. I enjoy figuring out how to transform the figures so I can have a better understanding of how these things were designed. But here, since I brought it out and I'm speaking about the engineering, here you already saw how some people broke this. And this is just like the hands, the fingers that you hear me complain about. It's the type of plastic and how thin they make it. And when they put a pin in there, and if that tolerance is really tight, this is prone to breakage. So you've seen other people break it. And since I'm showing you this one, I'll just speak to this real quick. Here I use this tool to help bend this without like bending this down and the tolerance is tight and then you might crack and break it. Here I'm showing you what I do. I actually just use the tool so I'm getting a good grip right around that hinge. So that way, you know, I can prevent cracking and breaking it. But anyways, my point was their engineering is always complicated, too many parts to make, too many parts to assemble. The engineering of the transformation is complicated. It's not something like, you know, fold this in, fold this in. It's kind of like this, you have to do like two at the same time. But in short, their engineering, you know, always has so many issues. And then in terms of form and function, I didn't mention this, but he does have real working wheels that Fans Toys does not. And that's not to say this is better than Fans Toys because of it. There's just a lot of great things about this compared to the Fans Toys. And this is just another one of them. And then the form and function, like I already said many times, these working hydraulics here. And then the little features that they gave you with the doors opening. Yeah, they could have kind of fixed that a little bit to make the doors open a little bit easier. But all these little nice things they do. So they do a great job with that. And the butterfly joints and all that, the articulation, that's also part of form and function. But anyways, instead of rambling on, there's a lot of great things. And I'll just tell you, how do I feel about this? Personally, I'm really happy with this figure. I really like how it captures the Toon aesthetics in robot mode and alt mode. And man, I'm so happy that I got it and was able to find out that you can have the parts forming piece attached, because now this is definitely more Toon accurate. But anyways, with all that said, that's my final thoughts and review for the X-Transbots version of a masterpiece scaled Scavenger, and just really looking forward to the last 3 Constructicons.
Time for Scavenger to scram! Look, guys, if we don't make it, it's been great being part of the team.